Who would win if you took the best basketball players in the world and put them against the best soccer players in the world? Let's find out. Now, this is going to be tough. Like if we're taking the best of the best, then obviously we have to start with LeBron James and Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, these two guys are considered by many to be the greatest at their sport ever. So how do you compare them? Obviously, they play different positions, so that makes it a little bit easier. We can just look at who's the better player overall. And honestly, it's tough to say one is clearly better than the other because they both dominate their respective sports. They're both great leaders. They're both extremely competitive. But if I had to choose one, I think I'd go with LeBron. He seems like a more dominant force than Ronaldo, if only because he plays a more physical sport. Now, don't get me wrong. Ronaldo is incredibly strong, and he has dominated professional soccer for years. He's actually been named FIFA World Player of the Year a record 7 times. But in terms of overall dominance, I think LeBron has him beat. Not only does LeBron have a better physique and more raw power than Ronaldo, but he also plays a sport where he can use that power every day, whereas soccer players can't really use their power unless they're like an offensive lineman or a fullback. And those guys aren't really known for having great stats. All right, so LeBron wins over Ronaldo, which means Team Basketball takes the first point. Now, if this were a normal game, there's no way Team Finland could compete. Like, there's no way they could even score 10 points against Team US. The talent disparity here is just too much. But this isn't a normal game. This is all-out war. So there are no rules. There's no off-limits. It's literally every man for himself. And that's where things get interesting because now we have to take into account size, speed, intelligence, and most importantly, heart. When it comes to size, there's really no contest. Basketball players are some of the biggest, strongest human beings on the planet. Just look at Shaq. He's 7'1" and weighs 325 pounds. Or what about Anthony Davis? He's 6'10" and weighs 280 pounds. Now, soccer players are usually pretty big themselves. Like take Sergio Ramos, for example. He's 6'4" and weighs 200 pounds. But for the most part, soccer players just aren't built like basketball players. They're usually a lot skinnier. Take Lionel Messi, for example. He's probably the most famous soccer player in the world. And yeah, he's small, stands at just about 5'6". In fact, when he played pickup basketball games, he often got obliterated by defenders trying to guard him. So when it comes to size, Team US has a clear advantage. They're bigger and stronger than Team Finland, which means they should be able to overpower them, right? Wrong. It turns out soccer players are actually faster than basketball players. The fastest basketball player in the NBA is Russell Westbrook, who can run a 4.340. Now that's pretty fast, but it's nothing compared to soccer players. In fact, the fastest soccer player in the world was measured by FIFA, and he clocked in at 22.9 miles per hour. Now, you might be thinking that's not very fast, but keep in mind, soccer players aren't built for speed. They don't train for it. They don't even try to improve it. And yet the fastest ones are still blazing past the fastest basketball players. So if we're talking about brute force, Team US definitely has the advantage. They're bigger, stronger, more powerful than Team Finland. But when it comes to finesse, skill, and technique, I think Team Finland has the advantage there. Now, obviously, basketball players can jump really high, like really, really high. Like Giannis Antetokounmpo can jump nearly 36 inches in the air. But soccer players are actually better at balancing themselves on a ball while jumping. In fact, soccer players can do something called the step over, which is exactly what it sounds like. They step over the ball and kick it without falling over. Now, imagine trying to do that with a basketball. It's impossible. You would literally need super strength. So again, basketball players have the advantage when it comes to raw power, but soccer players have the advantage when it comes to control and technique. So now it's time for us to make a decision. Who do we want to be on our team? A guy who can jump 3 feet in the air and throw down a monster dunk on your face? Or a guy who can balance on top of a ball while doing a triple axel jump? Well, I think the answer is obvious. We want to be on the team with the guy who can jump 3 feet in the air and throw down a monster dunk on your face. I mean, come on. That would be awesome. Plus, those guys are usually pretty good at passing the ball, too. So we'll let LeBron pass it to Anthony Davis for the easy dunk. Team US wins the first point. But wait, before we move on, we need to talk about the most important position on any team, point guard. Now, this is the guy who's responsible for leading the team, making sure everyone's on the same page. And honestly, this is the hardest position to fill. For Team US, there's really no question. The best point guard in the world is Magic Johnson. He's a true floor general, the type of guy who can make everyone around him better. But for Team Finland, things get a little tricky. Their best player, Ronaldo, is more of a forward than a point guard. So who's going to run the offense? Well, we'll let him do it. Ronaldo's been named FIFA World Player of the Year a record 7 times, so we know he's capable of carrying his team to victory. But can he do it against Magic Johnson? Honestly, I don't think so. Magic is just too good of a passer. He'll find the open man every time, and he'll make sure they get the ball in the easiest position possible. Plus, he's also a great defender, so he'll be able to keep Ronaldo from driving to the basket. Magic Johnson easily takes this matchup, which means Team US goes up 2-0. Now, this is where things get interesting because Team Finland is starting to get desperate. They're going to throw everything they have at Team US, and that means it's time for the ultimate test, a one-on-one matchup between LeBron James and Lionel Messi. Now, these two guys are widely considered to be the greatest at their sport ever. They've won numerous championships, they've broken countless records, and they're both incredibly humble despite their success. So who's going to win this matchup? Well, let's take a look at their stats. Now, obviously, LeBron has the advantage in terms of height and weight. He's just bigger, stronger than Messi. But Messi has the advantage in terms of speed, agility, and technique. He's a magician with the ball at his feet. He can dribble through 3 defenders without losing control of the ball. So who's going to win this matchup? Well, let's see. LeBron tries to drive to the basket, but Messi is too quick. He steps in front of LeBron and steals the ball, then he takes it the other way and tries to lay it up. But LeBron blocks it. So now it's LeBron's turn. He drives to the basket again, but this time Messi is ready for him. He jumps in the air and slaps it away. Then he takes it the other way and scores an easy goal. But LeBron's not giving up. He chases after Messi and manages to poke the ball away from him. Then he takes it back the other way and dunks it on Messi's face. 10 seconds left on the clock. LeBron tries to steal the ball back, but Messi is just too quick. He dances around LeBron and scores another goal. Time runs out, and Messi's team wins. I can't believe I just said that. Messi's team wins. No way. All right, so it looks like Team Finland is coming back to life here. They're down by 2, but they're starting to believe they can win. But it's time for us to make one last push for the gold medal. We need to score 1 more point to secure the win, and we're going to do it with the best shooter in the world, Steph Curry. Now, you might be thinking this is a bad matchup for Team Finland because how can anyone stop Steph Curry? And that's true. Nobody can stop Steph Curry except maybe Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq is one of the most dominant centers in NBA history. He's a 4-time NBA champion and a 15-time All-Star, but he's also one of the worst outside of shooters in NBA history. In fact, he shot a grand total of 22 threes in his entire career, and he made 0 of them. That's right. Shaq never made a three-pointer, so if we put him on Messi, he'll never guard him on the perimeter, which means we can leave Messi open and focus on shutting down everyone else. Mission accomplished. Team US wins the gold medal. Now, obviously, this was just for fun. Like, there's no way Team US would ever lose to Team Finland. But it was cool to think about what would happen if they did, and it turns out it would be pretty embarrassing. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.